I guess it's from the population.
You didn't, right?
They,
And you can block them on.
no, because it's
It's a public meeting.
public meeting.
Travis?
There we go. I'm back. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Good deal. Okay, perfect. So touched on the opinion letter, we're all good. Was going to flip a few pages over, look briefly at the governmental fund financial statements, starting on page 15. With the governmental fund balance sheet, and a couple pages later, starting on page 18, is the income statement for the city's major governmental funds, which includes obviously the general fund, the city's main operating fund, and other funds that are above a certain percentage of the total governmental funds. Main thing wanted to point out here was the general fund on page 15. You can see down towards the bottom under fund balances where the general fund's total fund balance as of September 30th, 2025 of approximately 6.4 million, broken out by category as far as levels of restriction, whether internal or external, including that last category, unassigned, of about 3.9 million. Unassigned essentially meaning there is no restriction placed on it either internally by the city or externally by a contract or grant agreement or so forth. And that's the amount that the city can spend to fund its operations as it sees fit. So unassigned of about 3.9 million out of 6.4 million total. You can see if a couple pages over, as I mentioned, starting on the income statement on page 18 for the general fund. We compare those amounts to general fund's total expenditures of about 12.8 million for the year ended September 30th, 2025. We like to sometimes think about fund balance in terms of number of, say, months of expenditures. So if you think of total expenditures for the year as being 12 months, how many months would there be in fund balance? So if we compare that unassigned of about 3.9 million, it's between around 3.5 to 4 months of expenditures in unassigned fund balance. We look at the total of 6.4 million, it's around probably closer to right at or just under 6 months. The varies by the size and type of entity, but the classic rule of thumb for local governments is shoot for a reserve of 3 to 6 months. So by either metric, the city is definitely in the healthy range of fund balance. As of the end of fiscal year 2025. Any questions or comments so far? Good deal. A couple other items. We have a couple other letters towards the back of the report was going to touch on very briefly. First one begins on page 103. Of the ACFR. This looks similar to the letter we looked at just a moment ago. This one is on our responsibilities, and procedures for an audit conducted in accordance with government auditing standards. So local governments in Texas are required to have an audit performed in accordance with these standards. And essentially, they require us as your outside auditors to consider things like not only the city's internal controls, but also things like contracts, grant agreements, laws, regulations, things of that nature. And if any non-compliance with any of those could impact the financial statements, we're required to disclose said non-compliance to you in this letter. However, as a result of our audit, no non-compliance was noted, so we have none to report to you. Today, I'm happy to report. So this letter is simply the standard language describing our responsibilities and procedures in accordance with those standards. Lastly, we have one more letter, a couple pages over on page 105. This is the independent auditor's report on the city's federal single audit. So as you know, entities that expend, beginning with fiscal year 2025, it's $1 million. Previously, it was $750,000. They've now upped it to an even $1 million, but entities that expend more than that amount of federal funding during their fiscal year are subject to this single audit, whereas we select a portion of those grant expenditures based on certain risk assessment criteria, and we test them for things like they will pull payroll disbursements to employees, will pull checks paid to vendors, look at things like approvals on purchase orders, look at the allowabilities of the costs involved in accordance with the requirements of the grant, all those sorts of things. It's in essence to determine that the city had adequate internal control over grant expenditures, and also that all these grant expenditures were in compliance with the rules of the grant. So as with before, I'm going to look at the second paragraph down under where it says opinion on each major federal program, where the paragraph that says, in our opinion, the city complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements referred to above that could have a direct and material effect on its major federal programs for the year ended September 30th, 2025. So once again, this is an unmodified or a clean opinion on the city's federal single audit, meaning that as a result of our procedures and our testing, there was no non-compliance or question costs, anything of that nature noted. You can see the expenditures subject to the single audit are listed out on page 108, and a brief summary of our opinions and testing are listed on page 110. So just to quickly recap, we have an unmodified or clean opinion on the city's financial statements for fiscal year 2025, the same unmodified / clean opinion for federal single audit, no findings, no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies to report in accordance with government auditing standards, and between 3 to 6 months of expenditures in general fund balance, both unassigned and in total.
I do want to make a comment that regarding the federal awards, I did take the opportunity, I went back over several years worth of our audits, back to October 1st of 2018, we have spent $20,581,000 of federal dollars. So I think that's an interesting statistic to note.
Okay. On that note too, so in our general fund, by policy, we have to have 4 months reserved. We have to have 6. So we're right at 6. And we had a net change of minus 2.7 million. So the last few years, we've been able to use our fund balance to do projects works and stuff, but we're kind of.
Yeah, no, we're getting to
We're at the point where.
and Brittany and I talked about that, and she's going to add something to the monthly reports, financials, so we can keep an eye on that.
Yes.
We did do an exercise today, and we're near I guess it would probably be close to the 8-month mark, I think, right today at the snapshot today. But yes, we want to, we don't want to get into a bind with that for sure.
Okay. Well, and similar with I think the port revenue was the only positive fund. The other funds were all negative. So
yeah, and we know that we're fixing to work on our utility rates because that's something clear that we need to do. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we noticed that same thing. Okay, we'll see how it factors in the capital projects coming up here soon.
what happened?
Travis still there? Okay.
Yeah, I think Travis is still there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else you want to add, Travis?
Nothing else significant on my end other than just want to take a quick second to say thank you to, first of all, everyone at the city, but in particular to Brittany and everyone in the finance office. We, as they will no doubt attest to, we ask a lot of them. We ask a lot of questions, ask for a lot of information. They are always very responsive. They work hard to get us everything we need when we need it. And that's what that time and effort that they put in is what makes, first of all, what makes the city run day to day, and also what makes this report at the end of the year possible. So definitely big thank you to everyone in finance and everyone at the city. You're all been a pleasure to work with, and we very much appreciate you.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you too, Travis. You and your firm did a wonderful job on this. It really enlightens us on paths we need to take in the future, and lets us know that our finances are in good shape as usual. We have a really great finance department.
And it's more important than ever that we get these submitted on time because of the severe consequences anymore if we don't. So thanks staff and Travis and his team for making sure that we did get this done and submitted on time.
Motion to accept that.
Hey, Travis.
Yeah. Motion.
Finance team.
Road.
To accept that.
Second. A motion and a second approving the annual comprehensive financial report for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025, as prepared by the audit firm Patillo, Brown and Hill LLP as presented today. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none opposed, motion passes. All right, thank you. We'll move to
Thank
agenda
you.
item number 2. Thank you,
Thank you,
Travis.
Travis.
Appreciate it. We're moving on. We'll move to agenda item number 2, consider construction contract award for the Western Heights Streets and Drainage Project. Jody?
I think Wayne's going to.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, on, excuse me.
Yeah, buddy.
From the October 1 fiscal year 25-26 CIP program, we pointed out that Western Heights was part of that program this year. On March 17th, we received 4 bids, which is better than we've been getting. That ranged from 1.8 million to 2 million from top to bottom. So the base bid for Western Heights project included full roadway construction for Short Street, Central Avenue, Warehouse Street, and Border Street, drainage system upgrades, water service replacements, Improvement consists of pavement removal, subgrade stabilization, installation of flexible base and asphalt surface, new curb gutter, sidewalks, and ADA compliant ramps. It also includes the installation of new storm sewer infrastructure to improve drainage and reduce flooding, along with traffic control, erosion control, and site restorations. At alternate number 1 included the construction of 4-inch thick concrete sidewalks within the project area to enhance pedestrian accessibility and connectivity. All of this will be conducted to meet ADA standards.
And the alternate bid was just the additional sidewalk on border, on one side of border. Because the base bid had the rest of the sidewalks, but the alternate added it on both sides of Border Street.
So is that on both sides of the street or just one side on each street?
It's on Border Street. What made y'all decide Border Street and not Central Street? Because Central Street usually gets more foot traffic.
Because of the traffic to the strip center.
I know, but I'm telling you, Central Street has more foot traffic than Border Street does.
Well, there is a sidewalk on one side like every place else, but on Border, we put it on two sides because
Not a sidewalk.
without it we were gonna have a midway crosswalk. And we thought, it's an alternate, just keep it on this side to get to the strip center.
That's the same side with strip centers on.
Yes, right here, this one comes down and it loops back up here on Short Street. And so the strip center is kind of in the middle between these two.
Right.
So that was the alternate because it made with where the sidewalk came out of the other project, we kept it on this side, but to
Yeah,
only do it on
yeah.
one side, we were going to have a mid-block crosswalk.
Yeah.
And so as an alternate, we just thought we'd go ahead and see what that would cost to
But
have.
like right here on Border Street in the beginning, there's that big bump. And when right here where it blends right here. Right here.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's not gonna go up for those residents.
We don't have to do it. It's an alternate. That's why we left it as an
Go
alternate.
ask them, but I doubt
It's your
it.
district. So.
You know how.
If you don't want to award it, we don't have
No,
to.
no. We keep like that, but so what happens if they don't want it? Just like that lady over there on Bower Street, we skipped her home. Remember?
I don't think we've got any issues where we got severe slopes to deal with. But if we have our public meeting with them and they all don't want a sidewalk, we don't have to put a sidewalk. We can go back to the base bid.
We get the 32,000 back then?
Yeah, it's correct. Again, this is a unit price bid. It's not lump sum. So although we're awarding this amount, it is, we could have change orders. Again, we decided we wanted to go in with sidewalk on Central, we could do that by change order. In lieu of border or whatever. That was the plan for the bidding process.
Oh, it says 300 days.
Yes, we did put that into the contract.
So they're going to do one street at a time, or are they going to tear the whole neighborhood up and just kind of go step by step?
I wasn't at the pre-bid, but we'll talk about that, but I would assume it's going to have to be like they did at Alamo Heights. You still got to let people in and out, but there'll be, I don't think they're going to just tear up one street and complete it and then tear up the other one. It'll be similar to what they did at Alamo Heights.
So the way this works, they'll go, since there's utilities and drainage involved,
Yeah, that's.
they will go in and replace all the utilities and storm drainage first. Then they will work on street, curb, and gutter.
So they'll just tear up wherever we've got storm sewer and utilities initially, which is mainly center.
Just don't have the drawing.
The only thing I'd like to avoid is the scenario like down there at Jackson. Those people been in a bad way for a long time. Even Independence is taking. Well, we allowed it. We gave them 600 days or 660, right?
And this is 300 days of the contract, and it is the nature of construction. If we wanted to bid them out individually, we could. It would just be a lot more money. It would be.
300 days is not terrible. And within that 300 days, it's not all going to be tore up the whole time.
No, not.
A lot of the traffic that really goes through there is traffic to the, to 35. It's a pass through.
Are the utilities in the street or in the easement?
Both.
Both.
So, and what I anticipate will happen is we will close that neighborhood off to pass-through traffic,
Through traffic.
local traffic only. Kind of like we did with Independence and Alamo Heights. That way we don't have the, if the project streets just base and
Yeah.
whatever, if we get rain and it turns to mud, we don't have the through traffic tearing it all up.
And that's more neighborhoods, so I could see that working well, but like Independence I didn't realize how many people use that. That's because of high school and whatever else is over there. Yeah.
It has been hot mix now. We're waiting on paint. And
Yep.
again, Lester on that subject, Lester is targeting trying to get the final inspection done to where we can bring both those projects for release of retainage at the April 13th meeting. That's what we're hoping for.
There's only two streets, Border and Central, that's it?
Yeah, a little bit of warehouse.
Warehouse and are we doing the George Street behind? Because there's only a block.
We're doing that. We're not.
of, it doesn't have any curves or anything.
It's include that.
It's just,
Central warehouse. Or
right, short is the one up. It goes
Next to
around
7-Eleven.
Showboat.
To know-
It's just the short one, yeah.
And we know that, we are under budget, so that's good. So, what we'll be talking about, when we start looking at CIP is, what do we want to spend what's left of the 2024, bonds on? And of course, there could be some change orders in here, but I don't anticipate anything, real big.
Anyhow,
just,
Yes. I make a motion that we accept the bid.
The alternate or no?
no alternate?
I said, oh.
Okay.
Yes. The alternate is to put sidewalks, right?
To what, just on border,
Just on border.
or in the base bid, yes.
all the sidewalks are there except for that short piece along Border.
I just need to know if she's gonna go whole thing for the.
Rose,
Maybe.
seconded, Rose.
Rose. So it's the bid plus the alternate one?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the construction contract award to Lester.
But I have a question. You said there's sidewalks in the plan,
Hmm?
right? Because there's no sidewalks there.
No, right, the plan is to install sidewalks.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
And then the alternate is to put it on the other side of border, so they'll have
on both sides,
both sides,
right, yeah.
making sure.
Motion and a second to approve the construction contract awarded. Construction contract award to Les.
One more question, wait. What side of Central Street are you gonna,
Central, it's on the north side, the shorter of the two, is on the north side of Central.
okay, not on my side,
Oh, it's on the other
on
side.
the other side.
Yeah.
We couldn't do your side because of the sweep of the,
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
yeah.
We can do the most and we can adjust it later if we need.
Less than we can, yeah. No, I'm good with that.
Motion and second is to award the construction contract to Lester Contracting Incorporated in the amount of $1,845,781 for the base bid and alternate number one. Contract time is established at 300 calendar days as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. And none opposed, motion passed.
Is the start date?
Well, we've awarded the contract. We'll have to get the contract documents and everything. Usually that takes 3 or 4 weeks. We'll have a pre-construction conference. Again, we want to plan a community meeting with the whole neighborhood with the contractor before we start. Okay.
You have a date in mind for that?
I don't, once we get this, we'll get with,
After it
the
rains.
contract. Yeah. Hopefully not, yeah. We'll try to get that scheduled there as soon as I can get everybody together.
At this time, will announce that we will retire into closed session. One, to discuss personnel matters in accordance with Title V, Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, to discuss appointment, employment, evaluation, duties and responsibilities, reassignment, discipline, or dismissal of an officer or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee, specifically chief of police, and to deliberate to purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Deliberation in open meeting would have detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with a third party in accordance with Title V, Chapter 551, Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code. So I would ask everyone to step outside. This time that City Council has completed its closed session. This 23rd day of March 2026 at 7:52 p.m. And we will move to agenda item number 4, return to open session to take any action deemed necessary with regard to matters in closed session. I believe we have a couple of issues.
Okay, so the city council of City of Port Lavaca has approved a retirement agreement with Police Chief Colin Ragnow, who has announced his decision to retire from public service to pursue an entrepreneurial venture. Therefore, I make a motion to ratify the retirement agreement executed between interim city manager Jody Weaver and Police Chief Colin Ragnow effective March 20th, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to ratify the retirement agreement executed between the interim city manager and police chief Colin Ragnow effective March 20th, 2026, as stated. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes.
Okay, and then further, we make a motion to name Detective Weston Burrows as acting chief of police to lead the department through this transition while the city posts the position for a permanent police chief.
I'll make a motion to accept.
That was my motion.
Oh, second.
So we have a motion and a second to appoint Detective Weston Burris as the acting police chief during our transition period. All in favor?
We post for a position.
Well, we post for a position for permanent police chief. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Unopposed, motion passes. That concludes our business. I have a motion to adjourn the special meeting.
To adjourn special meeting.
This
This was the meeting, yeah, special meeting. It was effective Friday,
Okay.
retirement.
We have a motion and a second.
There's going to be a press release,
Say aye.
a press release.
Any opposed? Not opposed.
Right, Joe? Going to give press release.
I have to
I just had a motion.
put it together because what I've got, it's change it, but yes, there will be.
There will be.
Recognition.
This is.
This one. Okay.
We've already motioned and
They
said.
did it.
Okay, at this time, we will call to order our workshop meeting.
Okay, did you adjourn?
Yes.
It was Justin and Rose that motioned second.
Yes. No, just, no,
That's good.
it was Tim and Rose.
Tim and Rose.
Tim and
For
Rose.
adjournment?
Oh, for adjournment?
Oh, Justin, I think.
Yeah.
Adjournment.
Justin and Rose.
There's an agreement.
We vote? I guess we did.
Yes.
Who's on first? Yeah. And then you're opening up the
And then
workshop.
we'll call to order the workshop meeting at this time. And, as part of our procedure, I will ask if there are any comments from the public at this meeting. He signed up for this meeting. Hearing none and seeing none, we will move on to our regular agenda item, which is to job description and compensation for municipal judge for the period of June 30th, 2026 to June 29th, 2028.
Oh, I got,
Mayor.
well, yeah, because I need one.
Yeah.
So, you keep that.
Okay. Did you get one of these? This Jody.
Yeah, I got,
Do you have it?
yes, I had, maybe I didn't.
Maybe I don't guess I did.
What we handed out is the
This,
preliminary job description.
this, as I understand it, this was, Emery, correct me if I'm wrong, this was the last job description that council, considered at least about a year ago for the municipal judge, part-time municipal court judge's position. And then to look at, potentially any changes to the compensation for the next cycle. We've been trying to do some research with what other cities are doing. Again, tonight's discussion is strictly as far as the position of the judge and job description, and talk about compensations in anticipation of, making it known to the public, probably in the early part of April, that council will be considering a reappointment or an appointment of a part-time municipal judge, court judge at the June council meeting, regular council meeting. And that date is June 8th. Again, the idea is, to discuss any changes, whether this is what y'all like, look at any changes, and then, we can, officially approve the job description at the April meeting, and then begin advertising, for anyone that may be interested, or again, for consideration of a reappointment or an appointment at the June meeting.
This is just the same thing twice in this.
This wanted to appoint an associate.
Oh,
Remember,
So that's the associate job position. You do not have to have an associate. It's just kind of like a substitute.
Yes, concerned about the time commitment. Did we spell out to how long the judge is going to convene his sessions?
it's in there, it says
2 to 4 hours.
4 hours per session.
4 hours per session.
Once a week.
It's on the,
Something associate.
it's on both.
Session will depend on the docket and the type of cases. It can vary radically.
Basically, they follow state law. This is just to give somebody an idea of what all the things they do, right?
Yeah.
Correct. And I think we, when we looked into this, or when we found these, we kind of put together, looked at several cities and put together not a court of record position. And this was kind of what we came up with to make sure, try to include everything that it possibly could involve.
What's the benefit of doing this associate municipal court judge?
They're kind of available when the appointed judge is unavailable, or, associate judges can be used a couple of different ways. Prior to our current judge, there was a judge that didn't live in the city part of the time. And so he was appointed an associate judge. The associate judge does not have to live in the city. And they were the municipal court judge. Okay. That was one way to use the associate judge position. Another way to use the associate judge is to be a substitute or in conjunction with municipal court judge. So for instance, in Bay City, they have a judge, they have an associate court judge, and they kind of split up the duties, and they've got an hourly rate. So they just kind of split up whatever's convenient for them and that they want to do or don't want to do. And they kind of split up duties that way. And it's done on an hourly basis. So,
Have we had an associate judge in the past?
No. Well, except for Judge Duckett was the associate judge because of his residency.
This makes no mention about working with the JPs on kind of a team effort that we've been doing.
Yeah, I talked to, in anticipation, I talked to, we have a new JP coming on board and everything. And I just ran into very casually, talked to Judge Dio that I'd like to see all of us get together and come up with a new MOU. The last MOU is from 1989, I think.
Yeah.
And that we come up with a new one and, we address any issues at that time.
Okay. Makes sense.
I didn't promise or, I just suggested that would be a good idea, especially with a new JP coming in. And of course, whoever is appointed could be involved in that process.
Did you say the associate municipal court judge does not have to live in the city limits?
That is correct, per charter.
Oh, okay, because right here, a minimum qualifications, the very bottom bullet says live within the city limits.
Yeah, it's not required by charter.
It's not required by charter, but it is.
And these can be changed. By charter, the associate.
The associate.
What justifies the need for an associate judge?
It's the council's preference. As I said, if there is, you're approached maybe by two very qualified people and want to say, hey, we want you two to split up the duties. We're going to appoint them municipal court judge. We're going to appoint them associate. Or perhaps the municipal court judge got sick and was still appointed. You could appoint later on an associate court judge to take their place while they were out, or say they were going on a long trip. You could appoint an associate judge to take care of their duties while they're gone. It's almost like a substitute teacher.
I was just wondering how all these other cities do it without an associate judge. How are they able to keep,
It's going to, I can't tell you because I don't know their particular facts. Some people don't travel very much. Some people don't get sick very much. So, it's going to just depend on the circumstances.
So interview a bunch of people if it ever comes to it, and then we can utilize this as a backup tool.
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't have to do it at the same time. You can always appoint an associate if the need presents itself.
Okay.
Good to know.
We don't have to say anything about pay more specifically.
Chart.
So it's in the chart, like if you want to do anything, and y'all can consider this during budget. This wasn't for a decision tonight. It was just discussion.
Discussion.
And whether you want to do it on an hourly basis or do it on a salary basis, it's completely up to you, the amount. And this is just for your information. Y'all don't even have to discuss that tonight.
Yeah.
$25 an hour.
Okay. I have a lot to digest, but
What does Bay City do with the $25 an hour
What
rate?
about it?
It's paid
That work
$20 an hour.
there?
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're very happy with the judges are happy. Dennis does the municipal court over there as well. And everyone works together. So their court clerk is actually their associate judge. So, it kind of, because that person was doing like magistrating duties or going over and setting capias pro fines or doing some of the stuff that might take the judge off the bench or whatever. But it works very similarly as ours. They have court once or twice. They have, I think, more court time because they're a bigger population, but it's like 1 or 2 days a week. Janice generally goes twice a month, I think. And then if there's jury trials or whatever, he goes over for those. But they usually, I think they have like a plea docket and then, I don't know if those are twice a month or just once a month. And then he goes for trial dockets. Pre-trial and then trial. And if there's no trial, then he wouldn't go. So it just, it's whatever's convenient, whatever's, I mean, even here, not often do we have trials here.
Are we discussing compensation for the municipal court judge or for an associate court judge?
Municipal court judge.
Municipal.
Associates just provided to you. That was what was provided before. And again, you don't have to appoint that unless it becomes necessary. Or if it's at your desire. It's just provided for in the charter. It's provided for under law.
Anything council wants to add?
this time, not for me.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Bring it back so we can officially approve the job description. And I guess if anybody's got any thinks about changes, let me know and I can, incorporate that or bring them to the April meeting.
If there's any other data we can pull, like if you need me to pull, I'm glad to pull it. So you just let me know what you need.
Great. If I could entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'll put it in a second.
Do you have a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Hear none opposed. Good for y'all.